Welcome to PlaySmart Technologies and the features training for April 2026, primarily focused on authentication and logging into the system. So, I'm your trainer, Frank Zadroga. My email address is there on screen. Please feel free, write me with questions, comments, concerns. Be more than happy to respond and see what I can do for you. On today's agenda, we've got welcome and introduction, the new and more secure login process involving passkeys. We're going to cover some two-factor authentication stuff. We've updated some screens, changed the way that you can manage your two-factor authentication details in your profile, as well as then we're going to cover the passkey authentication process. Passkeys are great. They've been around the industry now for a little bit, so we wanted to make sure that we brought that to you as well. And then last but not least, we're going to wrap up and where to go for your questions and how to get your answers. So with that, let's hop right into the live training. Let me queue up the system and we'll go right into the login screen. Okay, so today we're going to start, I'm going to be logging on and off quite a few times just to kind of show you, but we're going to start at the login screen. And by default, everybody just clicks on the sign in screen and we get presented with the screen that asks us for a username and password. So here's the username and password. Notice you have a sign in with a passkey button down at the bottom. That doesn't work for you unless you've already registered a passkey, and I'll show you how to register a passkey once we get through the process. So let's start off with the two-factor authentication stuff, and then we'll get into the passkey stuff. So I'm just going to click on username, my Google Password Manager, and that's going to be important for later on. Just remember that piece. My Google Password Manager remembers my password for now. I'm going to click sign in, and then it's going to say, hey, send a code to my email. So I'm going to say send code to my email, do the two-factor process. After I put in the code, it recognizes the code, and then it forwards me over to a screen that asks me a couple of other things along the way regarding my account. So it's asking me here to register for a passkey. We're going to do this. However, we're going to skip this step for now. We're going to come back to it in just a bit. So I'm going to say remind me later, and then I'm going to log into the system. And here it's going to forward me right into my accounts page where you can see we've actually changed quite a bit of stuff in here, specifically the multi-factor authentication settings. And we're going to focus on these three boxes here: email, phone, multi-factor, as well as the passkeys and biometric. So right from here, this is where you get to manage all the different parts and pieces. If you happen to be forwarded over to the vehicles page here when you first log in, what you can do is you can get to the your profile section just by going up to the green or the teal circle with your initials in it. Click there, click manage profile, and then you're right back into the manage profile screen. Okay, so one of the important parts is to have both email and phone multi-factor authentication turned on, just in case you leave your phone at home, or just in case you don't have access to your email. You have two different ways of getting in, unless you've already got passkeys set up. So it's always good to turn these two things on. So as an example, I already have email two-factor turned on because I have to have one of them on. But I'm going to turn on phone, and I'm going to say enable SMS FMA, and it's going to ask me for the current password to the PlateSmart system. My Google Password Manager has it memorized. I'm going to just say enable. And now we have this particular screen coming back, and you can see that I have both email and text messaging now enabled for multi-factor authentication. If during the process of multi-factor you realize that your email and or your phone number is incorrect, on the top left-hand corner, this is where we have your email and your phone number in the system. So what you can do is you can choose then to, well, first of all, take a look at them, make sure they're correct, and then you can choose to change them here down below. So over here, we can change email address, and of course, you can just click the button where it says change phone number. So underneath where it says, oops, change email, it's going to say, hey, what do you want your new email to be? In this particular case, or whatever it may be, and I can click next, and it's going to say, hey, you got to prompt me with your password to the system, right, to basically be able to go through and change your email. Same basic thing with the phone number. So make sure you put in a good email address and a good phone number so we can send you not only alerts, but also we can send you the multi-factor authentication requests. Okay, so with that, now let's go through the process of registering a passkey. Now, you can register a passkey right from here. There's a register passkey. Also, if you ever want to learn more about passkeys and what they're all about, you can just click on the Learn More button. It basically puts you over to a web page, and then you can kind of go through, and there's a whole bunch of information here on what passkeys are, how they work, etc., and just different examples, etc., that you can look at. So right now, we're not going to click on the register passkey button because we're going to go back to the login process and you can see where you can register your passkey along the way. But in either case, you can use either one. So I'm going to go and log out or sign out. Sign out. Okay. So let's go back into the main sign-in screen. So I'm going to click sign in. Since we haven't yet registered for a passkey, the first thing we got to do is log in. So I'm going to use my standard username and password, click sign in. And now notice I get two boxes, right? I get one box for authentication and multi-factor authenticating with my email and the other one with my phone. So in this case, I'm going to use phone because we just put that one in there and I can see what the code's going to be. It's a little faster. Okay. And now it's going to ask me, because it already knows who I am. I put in my username, put in my password, and it verified my phone number. It's going to say, hey, do you like to, or would you like to register for a passkey at this time? So in this case, I want to say, sure. I can either do it here, or I can go back into my user account. And once I'm in the system and click the button to register a passkey, either case, same process. So I'm going to say register for a passkey here. And now it's going to basically prompt me and make sure that I am doing these three things. Number one, the device that I am on, I control and it's my private device. Also, that device that I'm logged onto is controlled by a PIN, some sort of a password, or some sort of a biometric like my facial recognition or something like that. Okay, make sure that both of those you have, and make sure that the particular device that you're on is not a shared device, not a public computer, like in a lobby of a hotel or something. Make sure that that particular phone that you're using is not a shared phone because you don't want to store your passkey for your account on a public device. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, so once I adhere to those different requirements, then I can say, yes, use my personal device. And now it's going to ask me, hey, what kind of a nickname do you want to give to this passkey? Because we're going to store that passkey on my particular device. So I'm just going to say PlateSmart. Okay, and I'm going to click Start Registration. And now notice the screen's changed a little bit. This is now prompting me to create a password, no, sorry, a passkey in my Google Password Manager. Now, the reason being is because I'm already logged into Google Chrome and I happen to use the Google Password Manager. If you want to use the Google Password Manager, it's pretty straightforward. It's free. It's provided by Google, and it also directly integrates into the Google Chrome browser, which makes things a little easier. So that if you log into the browser on some other device someplace else, your passkeys kind of go with you because they're in the Google Cloud. Okay, so that helps out quite a bit as well. So otherwise, if you don't want to necessarily work with Google, by the way, when it comes to Google and Chrome, same basic things apply to Microsoft Edge as a browser because essentially they're very, very similar on the back end. So what I say here for Google Password Manager works almost the same for Microsoft's Edge. Okay, so I can choose to create the passkey or I can save it another way. So for now, I'm just going to create the passkey and save it to my Google Password Manager. So I'm going to say create, and now it's prompting me for a PIN. So the question is, what PIN is this? This PIN is me accessing my Google Password Manager. So if I chose to store it in another password manager, there's lots of them out there. Please do a search for industry leading password managers like LastPass or anything like that. You can use any one of those that you prefer. I just happen to prefer the Google Password Manager. So this one is asking me for the PIN number for my Google Password Manager. Nothing to do with PlateSmart because now what's happening is that the passkey is trying to be stored inside of the password manager. So the password manager is asking for permission to do so. So I'm just going to put in my PIN. Okay. So it asks and says, oh, okay, good. So what it did is it created a passkey associated to that website and dropped it right into my Google Password Manager. Now, let me show you kind of where that went. So in Chrome, let me just cue it up here. Okay. In Chrome, I just did a quick search for Stage because that's the name of the website here that we're on because we're on the staging site prior to release. So I did a search in my Google Password Manager and basically came up with the particular website. Oh, by the way, if you ever want to get to the Password Manager in Google, you can go up to the very top right-hand corner of the Google Chrome browser, click on the triple dots, go down to where it says Passwords and Autofill, and choose Google Password Manager. You can access the password manager through the browser, or you can download it and install it on your computer and have it available there as well. So either way. So this is what I just opened up. Okay, so Now I have the password stored for this particular website. Now, since I haven't used it in about 2 or 3 minutes, it's going to prompt me for the password that I have on this device, which is the laptop. So I'm just going to put in the password real quick. Okay. And now it's going to forward me and show me the passwords that I have stored for this particular site. So in this case, I have 3 of them. I have a couple of different password combinations. And I also, down at the bottom, as you can see, I have the passkey that was just created and stored in my Google account. I can delete it from my Google account here, recreate a new one, whatever I want to do. Okay, just so you can see where that was. And so now Google knows about the passkey. So let's go see how that changed how I log into PlateSmart. So let's go and log out again. Click sign out, sign out. Okay, back to the sign in screen. So I click sign in. Now that I've registered for a passkey, now I can choose a couple different things. Notice in the quick menu that shows up from my Google Password Manager, now I have the option for a passkey if I want to. Or I can choose sign in with passkey if I happen to use a different password manager other than the Google Chrome one. I can just click sign in with passkey, and then it's going to say, hey, what password manager or where is your passkey located so I can access it. So I'm going to say not the Google Password Manager, but I'm going to say use a different passkey. Let's see what options we have, right? So I can use my phone, tablet, or security key. So I can also use that if I wanted to. Otherwise, I could just use my Google Password Manager. So let's go back here real quick. Sign in with passkey. Let's just do Google right now as a quick one. I'm going to click Google Password Manager. It's going to prompt me for the PIN to my Google Password Manager. So it can use the passkey, and we're done. It's more secure and it's faster. Okay. So it prompts you, and then you're in and you authenticate right into PlateSmart. Okay. Now let's try passkeys a slightly different way. Okay. Now let's go register a passkey in a different manner. Okay. Let's suppose I wanted to use my phone as kind of my facial recognition authenticator. I'm going to say register passkey. I'm going to say, yes, this is my personal device. Okay. I'm going to give it a nickname. PlateSmart 2 as an example. Click start registration. And then it's going to say, hey, do you want to use a Google Password Manager? No, not right now. I already created one there. I'm going to use my phone, tablet, or security key. Okay, so I can use a security key. Security key is literally a physical USB device that you have to plug into the computer so that it stores it on there. So you have to have that to be able to log in. Or I could just use my personal mobile device as a location to store the passkey. So I'm going to use that for now because that's where most of us fall into. And then it's going to prompt me with this QR code. And so I'm going to, on my phone, I'm going to open up my Authenticator app. It's going to open up the app, verify my Face ID through my iPhone. And then I'm going to click a button on the Authenticator app that says scan QR code. So I'm going to point it at the screen. I'm going to scan the QR code. And then on my iPhone, it's saying here, your iPhone needs to connect to this device in order to save a passkey. So I'm going to say continue. And then it's going to device connected. And it's on my phone, it's now saying, hey, do you want to add this passkey? I'm going to say yes, add the passkey. It's going to verify my face again, make sure, because I'm getting into the password manager on my phone. And so what I did is I just verified my identity based on the credentials on my phone with my Authenticator app, and it automatically logged me into PlateSmart, just like that. So I didn't have to worry about much of anything. So now, as you can see down here, we got 2 passkeys registered. So now I can use both of these passkeys, either one of them, to log into PlateSmart. Google Password Manager or my Apple Passwords PlateSmart 2 passkey. Or I can also register new ones. So if you have a LastPass account or something like that, you can register a bunch of them. If you ever want to remove them, just click on the remove button and it removes those passkeys so that they're no longer in use. So for example, let's suppose you lose your phone or something to that effect. You can always just remove them so that the security issue is not there. So let me go through and log out. Okay. So in quick summary, when you log into PlateSmart now, you have all the features and screens available to you to make changes or updates to your 2-factor authentication. Remember, you've got email and you've got phone. Highly suggested to register both of those. Confirm your email, confirm your phone number, make sure we're sending stuff to the right place, number one. And then also, highly suggested to register a passkey or a couple of them on different devices just so it's easier and more secure to log into PlateSmart because you don't have to always put in that username and password. It just verifies your face from your phone, or of course you get to use the passkey on your laptop. So in either case, highly suggested to use passkeys moving forward. Otherwise, feel free to use two-factor authentication. So with that, let me go back to the presentation. Your voice matters. We take Q&A and we also take feedback from the field very seriously. As a matter of fact, a lot of the features in the system have come from feedback that we've taken and put into the system to help everybody, basically secure communities and do their jobs better. So please, all feedback is welcome as well. Question is how to get us that feedback and questions. Best way to do it is send an email to support@platesmart.com. That's easiest. Creates a ticket. You can track it. Or if you want to talk to somebody, there's the phone number on screen. Please feel free and give us a call at the main office line and ask for support or ask for me. We also have the dedicated support page. So let me just click on that. It's going to open up the support page. You can always come back to here if you forget. This is essentially up here on the platesmart.com website. It'll also be in the communication emails, but we've got a whole bunch of different details in here for you so you can look at who and hours of operation. And of course, we're going to have training videos, including this one's going to get posted. And so feel free and go through and take a look at the content here. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated. And if you do have questions, comments, please feel free and write us. Otherwise, thanks and have a great day.